Welcome to another episode of She Has a PhD, the podcast where we celebrate extraordinary women in science. I'm Isabel Castanho, your host for today. Last week, we heard Professor Rana Dajani's story and all about her 5 scarves. Make sure to listen if you haven't yet. Today, she's back to have a short but more focused conversation on how she's driving change through social entrepreneurship. Welcome back, Rana.
Thank you.
As a scientist and true believer in evidence-based information, I often feel a sense of responsibility to share knowledge with the general population, for example, through science communication, to promote informed decisions and critical thinking. I know you share this mindset too. In your view, what role should we scientists play to serve and help our communities?
That's a very important issue. Actually, as scientists, we have the skills, we have the knowledge, we have the experience and the expertise to help solve challenges of the community around us. So I feel that it is our responsibility to take all that knowledge and experience and expertise and reach out to talk to the local community, understand their perspective as well, so that we're authentically reaching out to the grassroots, and then work with them in a team manner to identify the problem, make the necessary research to understand the root causes, and then come up with interventions or solutions that work, and then even study them and test them to make sure that they have impact, and then keep on learning as we go, because there's no one final solution. That's evolution, right? We keep learning and learning and learning. And that way, together as a society, we can solve the Sustainable Development Goals and create a better life for humanity.
Yeah, well said. And specifically as a social entrepreneur, your commitment to gender equity shines through your involvement in various impactful initiatives. One such endeavor is your role as a member of the United Nations Women Jordan Advisory Council. Could you tell us more about how you're leveraging this particular position to promote women's empowerment?
So in this position, it's about influencing policy at one range, but also engaging with the local community, the grassroots, the people on the ground. And I think building that bridge is very important. And what I contribute that is unique is that I create that bridge. I make sure and ensure through conversations and representation of the local community that their voices are heard with policymakers, and that it is they who set the agenda for the policymakers, and it is they who hold the policymakers accountable. And this becomes very important in the, let's say, in the framework of the UN, because in the UN, many times, developed countries come in with solutions that they implement on developing countries. And I use those words for lack of a better terminology, although I disagree with developing. And it is my role, I feel, in this capacity, on the advisory council, is to ensure that anything that comes from outside our culture and context should be monitored. But more importantly, it's about changing the system and creating a paradigm shift that solutions must be homegrown. And why? For a very good reason. First of all, they will be more sustainable, because they were created by the people, for the people. They will be much lower cost, right? And they will be functional. They will have proper impact. And that's what I do. I advocate to change that paradigm locally in Jordan and internationally within the walls of the UN.
Wow, thank you. You're the founder of the project We Love Reading, which fosters reading in young children. And you did mention this in our previous podcast episodes. Could you please tell us more details about this program?
Yes. So I started this program way back in 2006 because I felt this responsibility. In my upbringing, in my religion, it's about everyone is a guardian. So I'm a guardian. I have to take responsibility, and knowledge is responsibility. If you know something, you have to do something with it. And so it's from myself growing up being an avid reader and realizing that was really one major reason I am who I am today. And I thought, well, I need to help children fall in love with reading so that they can discover their inner potential and the world around them. And so through a lot of questions and exploration and trial and error, I realized that children don't read for fun because they don't have a role model. Nobody's reading aloud to them with fun. for fun with passion. And so I said, what can I do? I'll start reading aloud to the children in my own neighborhood. So I walked the walk and I gathered the children and read aloud to them in their native language, stories from their local culture, in the local neighborhood. And after 3 years of doing that, and again, trial and error until I got it down to, reduced it to the most empirical formula, the scientist speaking, that it's an easy program. I then turned it into a training program that now is in 65 countries around the world, and have reached over 500,000 of children. And actually, the whole mission of this initiative evolved also. So it started with children falling in love with reading. But now what we realized is that it's not just the children who are benefiting from reading. They're also benefiting in terms of their mental health, because when they're sitting with somebody reading aloud to them face to face physically, that helps them feel they belong, and they're connected and they have that eye to eye contact. But not just that. We realized that the adults, who we call them We Love Reading ambassadors, who are reading aloud to the children, themselves improve their mental health, their feeling of purpose, and becoming leaders within their community. So they actually discovered their voices literally and figuratively through We Love Reading. And so because of that, our mission now is about, We Love Reading is about changing mindsets through reading to nurture change makers. And it's because of that shared universal values of children and taking care of your community that allowed it to spread, while maintaining the uniqueness of the program that everybody reads in their native language. And everyone is responsible for their own community, and they're all volunteers taking care of their own community. And so their mindset shifts from a mindset of a victim to a mindset of I can, which actually fosters hope, fosters resilience, fosters a feeling of an identity and confidence and courage. And of course, We Love Reading. We create children's books as well. We have 35 children's books, and actually our latest one is going to be about evolution. And so stay tuned to read that one. We're very excited, and we do a lot of research on We Love Reading, right? So it's not just a social entrepreneurship program that works. We do a lot of research to understand why it works, how it works, and how we can make it better. And again, I invite scientists from different fields to come and do this. So psychologists, education specialists, anthropologists, leadership and identity to come and study the different aspects of it. And the most exciting thing is that finally I have been able to marry the biology that I work with the social entrepreneurship, because now we are studying the impact of trauma on children, looking at the impact of trauma on their epigenetics, and then trying to understand, can We Love Reading reverse that, the negative impact of trauma on epigenetics? And so we're really excited. We're looking forward to see the results. So again, stay tuned.
Thank you. Thank you, Rana, for sharing your exciting work in the realm of social entrepreneurship. I certainly learned a lot and leave this conversation feeling hopeful and motivated. This is all very exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you to our listeners for tuning in for today's episode. She Has a PhD will be back soon. Until then, stay curious, stay inspired, and remember your power to have a positive impact on the world. See you soon.